everyone, I'm Sarah from Everyday Starlet. Welcome to my channel. Today we are talking about the dreaded dark circles. They show up under your eyes. I never had a problem with them until, I don't know, I hit a certain age. I don't even remember what age that was, but it was like all of a sudden I would do my makeup and I'd be like, why does it look like I have like two black eyes? Maybe that's extreme because other people tell me that they're not as bad as I think they are, but for me, like if I put on my makeup and I don't cover up my dark circles, I literally feel like I've just been in a fight. It was like one day it just showed up and they ain't going anywhere. So I wanted to share with you some of my tips on how I deal with them. I'm going to show you how I cover them up, but first I want to talk to you about some of the skincare products that I use, eye care mainly, to take care of them. I actually use 3 eye creams. This is a little excessive. You may not have to use 3 eye creams, but for me, it just kind of ended up that way. I actually have been trying an eye cream from Amore Pacific that I'll mention later, but I wanted to go in the order that I apply them. And then I saw this on Sephora and I thought, you know what, I want to give this a try. So this is the Amore Pacific Intensive Vitalizing Eye Essence. And I've only been using this for a couple weeks. I do like it. I do think it's kind of toned down my dark circles a little bit. It's cooling. It has this little like metal tip, which a lot of, I feel like, revitalizing eye creams and stuff have. I usually feel like the gels and things like that on me just aren't quite hydrating enough, so I usually need to use something like this in addition to something else. So I've started using this sort of as like a under my eye cream kind of thing. It's a little tricky to use, I gotta admit, because you have to push down. It took me a while to figure it out because the instructions weren't all that clear, and you have to kind of like twist this and push it in, and then the cream comes out at the top, and for me it's always way too much. I don't like putting a lot of eye creams on under my eyes and stuff because I always feel like when I put too much on it gets in my eyes, and this stuff will kind of sting. It's not terrible, but it does kind of sting when you get this under your eyes. So for me, I find the packaging frustrating, but I do like the product, and I have noticed a difference, so I kind of just use this under my eyes morning and night before I put on my other eye creams. The next eye cream I use is actually, I was sent this, I will say, full disclosure, I was sent this and I didn't really have any expectations. I was just kind of like, oh, whatever, it's a wrinkle filler. I don't have all that many wrinkles. Like, my issue is more dark circles. I should probably tell you what this is. This is the Dermarche Labs Fulfill Hydraulic Acid Topical Wrinkle Filler. If you're not familiar with Dermarche Labs, I did a review on their Relax and Lift face mask. I will link that to this video. The face mask and this are their only products as of right now, as of filming this video. The Relax and Lift mask, I know when I reviewed it, I was kind of like, meh. I've used it a few more times. I do really enjoy it. So with this, I was kind of like, okay, maybe I'll like it, maybe I won't. I love this stuff. Again, I was sent this from a PR company. They're not paying me to talk about it. They just sent this to me to try out. I'm definitely going to buy this. I'm going to repurchase this when I run out. But when I put this on the first time, it was literally like I felt like 10 years younger. Like, it was just, it smoothed everything out. It's just, this stuff is like magic in a bottle. So I definitely been using this morning and night, so I'll usually use this first and then I'll put this on top of it. And then the eye cream that I have been using, I've mentioned this in my skincare videos and stuff before, it's the Amore Pacific Moisture Bound Rejuvenating Eye Treatment Gel. I don't know if this is necessarily necessary. This used to be the only eye cream I used just because it was the only eye cream I found that I just felt like my makeup went over it very smoothly. Honestly, I'm using it up. I don't know if I'll repurchase this again because I'm already using these other two. But for right now, I'm just kind of putting this on top of everything. It's very lightweight. I mean, if you're just looking for a nice basic hydrating eye cream, I would definitely recommend this. So after using my eye creams, then I use makeup to cover up my dark circles. So if you would like to see how I cover up my dark circles and some tips on how you can cover up yours, then just keep watching. Okay, so if I'm just having kind of like a casual day, or just running errands or anything, or not doing like full-on makeup, I will skip this step. But if I'm gonna be in front of the camera or just like really want to look polished and just really want to look like my best, then I always do this. I use the Tarte CC Under Eye Corrector, and I've actually hit pan on this. If you knew how rare it was that I would hit pan on something, because I go through products so quickly, but I actually hit pan on this. I use the Real Techniques Pointed Foundation Brush, and I find that it is just the absolute perfect size and shape. I would never use it for foundation because it's just way too small, but it's the perfect size and shape for doing this. I actually apply this basically just where my dark circles are, which, you know, it's probably everyone's different, but for me, it's kind of just on the inside here. I'll just go in with the Beauty Blender. Now what I'll do is I'm kind of like double color correcting, but again, I'm going very light. And this is the step that I almost never skip. I kind of accidentally stumbled onto this. It's the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer, which I use almost all the time. But this is in the shade Honey, which is sort of like a slightly darker shade for me. But I noticed that it just had this beautiful sort of warm tone to it, which is very similar to a under eye color corrector. I actually reviewed it in my color correcting video, which I will link to this one. Again, I just go over it in just the spots where I have the dark circles. And I find that it's so lightweight. And again, if I'm just doing a very natural sort of everyday look, I might skip the color corrector part and just use this as a color corrector. But if I'm really going like all out with my makeup for a special occasion, or even if I'm just filming, I usually will do the double step just to give myself a little extra coverage. Sometimes I'll skip this step, and if you have a really serious problem with creasing, again, you want to limit your products. I don't have a huge problem with creasing. I don't like it, but I don't have a huge problem with it. So what I will do is go in with sort of my skin tone shade of the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer, which is in the shade Vanilla. And I will just kind of go on the inside, kind of just over where I did the other color correcting, very lightly. I'm just kind of giving that a little bit of extra coverage without it looking too orange. So now I've color corrected and I've concealed. Now I'm going to go in and brighten, because I find if I just go in and brighten, it only emphasizes the dark circles. I go in with another NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer shade, and this is in the lightest shade, which is Chantilly. But this, I do more of a V shape. Like I would sort of go in and highlight and brighten. Now again, for you this might be a bit much, and if you have a serious problem with creasing under the eyes, you may want to skip a step, but just make sure that you include one step at least of color correcting and one step of concealing and or brightening. One thing I sometimes do, which I forgot to do here, is sometimes I'll go in with a Real Techniques setting brush, and I will use that to kind of smooth and buff out the concealer a little bit, and then go in with a Beauty Blender. I forgot to do that today, and I forget to do that some days, but I will sometimes do that. So if you're more comfortable with a concealer brush, I would definitely recommend the Real Techniques setting brush. I have two of these. I have one that I just use wet and one that I just use dry. And I will go in with my RCMA No Color Setting Powder. To me is my absolute favorite. I never have problems with creasing or caking or anything. I don't bake my face because for me it just makes my makeup cake up like crazy. But I will use this powder and I will just dust it on with the Real Techniques setting brush under my eye. For me, it just sets everything, it keeps it in place, and I don't have that crepey feeling. I don't have, you know, a cakey look. If baking works for you, by all means, go for it. But for me, it's a hot mess. There you go. And that was how I cover up my dark circles. If you have any favorite products for dark circles, eye creams, makeup, anything, concealers, under eye, setting powders, anything, please let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Leave them in the comment section below. If you found this video helpful, please give it a big thumbs up and be sure you subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my future videos. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you join me next time. Today we are talking about eye primers. Yes, eyeshadow primers, which is something I never used, and I just suffered with eyeshadow creasing for many years until I finally realized there's a better way. Yes, there's a such thing as eyeshadow primers that can prevent your eyeshadow from creasing. Genius.